So we're live.
Yeah, baby, we
My,
live.
I still need a moment. So, yeah. If you're watching, thanks for joining us. This is our live reaction show, and boy, do we have some reactions today with me.
Our live reactions when we first logged in, we were all like,
But today with me, I have D. What's up, D?
Hello, everybody.
And we have Courtney.
"Hi."
Courtney and you don't the Shakira shirt was yesterday. I was about to say the recipient of a very new Shakira shirt, which is pretty awesome.
I
should have worn it.
Now
Yeah.
I have a Reptar shirt today. So
Reptar.
So this episode is called Whitey on the Moon, and
Whitey on the Moon.
And not jumping ahead too far, but this is a Gil Scott Heron poem, and I liked how they really worked it into this episode.
Mhm.
So before we get into initial reactions, I'm going to attempt to do a recap of the previous episode in less than a minute. Let me get my drink. Hold on. So Atticus Freeman receives a letter from his father. It's a letter of distress. He then goes to Chicago in search of his father, but he finds no sign of his father. He meets up with his Uncle George, who writes a green book. So he goes on a trip with Uncle George. They go through the woods in the sundown town. They have to escape because the sheriff gets bitten by what looks like a vampire pig. And then by the end of the episode, they end up at some huge mansion. I left a lot out there, but that's pretty much the gist of it.
It's a huge mansion, may I add.
Huge mansion.
massive.
So let's get into reactions of this show, of this episode, excuse me. Courtney, let's start with you because I think you're still in the most shock. How do you feel about this episode?
Like I said, I need to book a televisit with my therapist, but that's a good thing. I was just talking about this before we went live. It's just one thing I've noticed, and I really hope to continue this trend. This show, especially like the last 15 minutes, has so much tension. Like in my opinion, it's not like scary like I'm gonna have like a nightmare or something. But there's so much tension where you're just like on the edge of your couch, like hyperventilating. And they did that really, really well with the last episode, and they did it again with this episode, but it's never in a way that you expect it. And like what you said, when you think you're out of the woods, you're like, whew, but then they just smack you. And you're just like like I said, I wish we had stills of all of our faces when we logged in, because we were just like, that's this episode is just like this. You're stressed out and traumatized a little bit. And like I said, Courtney's can never prosper. I don't know what it is. Someone needs to get into it.
Just bad for Courtney. Yeah.
He had to go back to being married to Angela Bassett. That's all.
That's what
I
it was.
wouldn't want to be away for too long either.
That's really what it is. Courtney is gonna thrive. George is the one that has the
right.
Courtney's gonna be okay.
I'm not about this life. Let me go back to being married to Angela Bassett.
I know, right?
So D, how we feeling after this episode?
I was really hoping that we wouldn't hit a sophomore slump, and I know I know it's episode 2, and sometimes, but I was really, really like, they gave us so much at the end of episode 1. How are they gonna keep this momentum for 10 episodes, right? So 2 has got, like, at some point we're gonna hit a lull. You know, you and I always talk about how there is at least one filler episode, right? You got to have one. But I was hoping that this wouldn't be the one, because I'm like, you got to keep the people watching it. And by the people, I mean, you know, me. I'm going to watch anyway, because, you know, I'm rooting for everybody black. But still, like, I wanted the show to still be really good. And I was so excited that I was, like, sitting there watching the whole time. And I didn't feel, I wasn't bored. I didn't feel like, you know, getting up to go do something else. I wasn't looking at my phone other than tweeting, of course, because, you know, that's part of it. But I really enjoyed it a lot, a whole lot.
So yeah, if you've ever watched me and AJ talk about albums, then you know I'm all about like album sequencing. And I always say the first track is cool. Like you got to have a good first track. But I feel like the second track is actually more important because you have to keep on attention. If the second track of this album is any indication, then this is fire, because I don't know how you pulled this out on your second episode. This this isn't a second episode. This felt like we said before we started, this feels like episode 5, 6, 7, and a lot was packed into this episode. It's just crazy to come out like the gates like this in episode 2. So I guess were you expecting this from episode 2? Like Courtney, you go first. You're just like nah.
But I love it. I'm like, don't want to get my hopes up, but I'm like, is this gonna fill the Game of Thrones hole in my heart? Like, it's a different type of fantasy, like I said, but like I'm addicted. I'm like looking up theories and stuff. But no, I was like totally expecting like a filler. It's like, oh, they're gonna be in this like castle mansion type thing with these weird get out Aryan type people for a few episodes. But no, there was so much packed in, and I agree. I was so worried. I was like, is it going to slow down a lot? Because especially when you're working with a fantasy like that, you do have to have some kind of background. But that's the thing. It was overwhelming in a good way, but it wasn't ever like too much. You still got some backstory on some of these characters. Somehow they were able to fit that in there. So I am really impressed with how they were able to do that and give you so much within that one episode. And I do hope they can kind of continue trucking on with that, because that is so impressive to me that they were able to do that, especially with like a brand new season. But again, if you look at the people behind it, everyone's like really talented, so there shouldn't be that surprise. But no, I was just like, maybe we're gonna learn more about these creepy white, very blonde people. It's like the kind of blondness that's like unsettling. That's why it's like very like Aryan, and I think that's like not on accident either. But we got a whole lot. I'm sure we'll get into that later. I was not expecting to learn that much like lore in one episode too. Like, you learned a lot and a lot happened, and I'm still processing how they were able to do that.
Yeah. Before I step into my next question, I like recently finished Umbrella Academy season 2, and who knew 2020 would be the year for the white hair antagonist? But yeah, it's their year apparently. So D, I want to go with you on this first. What's your favorite part of the episode?
I really it was creepy. So don't think I mean by favorite, I don't necessarily mean the part I liked the most, but I mean the part that stood out the most, I guess I should say. And it was the one when they were all in their separate rooms, but you didn't realize that they weren't that it was a mind fuck until you saw all three of them. Because I thought Atticus was in the room with Letty, and then I'm like, wait, well, he can't be in there, and oh shit, like it was really one of those like oh shit moments. And then the fact that you had just seen that picture of Adam and Eve with the whole snake thing, and then it came to fruition or whatever right when it, because I knew what was about to happen by the way she was looking at him unbuckling his pants. I was like, it's gonna be a snake. It is going to be a snake.
A snake in there, not like metaphorically. It's a real snake.
A real snake. I also really liked Michael coming out of the ground, because it's Omar. Omar coming, and here he is, like coming from the ashes, like a phoenix. But it was I really liked that part with the three different rooms. And it was weird that they were watching them, kind of like they were their entertainment or whatever, the men in the thingy or whatever. So I think that may have been my favorite part. There were plenty, but I think if I had to pick one, that would be it. What was yours?
What about you, Courtney?
I was like, I don't know if I have like a favorite, but one was like to me the most impactful. I think I really liked the part of the rooms too. I think that was really wonderfully done, because I think not only are they playing like mind games with the characters, but also the viewers. Because and I love it when they do that, because we're like, even though we should know better, even though the characters should know better, we still fell for it.
Oh, I did for sure.
It came out. I did too. I don't know. I guess one thing, the part that has me the most intrigued, I guess not a favorite, but it has my intrigue, is the part about Hannah. Is that the name of
the Hannah
ancestor? I'm assuming that's who it was that he saw when they were trying to bring up the Garden of Eden. That to me, I was just like, I think that's the part is the most memorable, I guess I'm going to say. I'm really curious about that too. And the fact that she was pregnant. I want to know more. I guess I'm not going to say my favorite, but the most memorable part for me.
All right, so I feel like we definitely have to get into Hannah, but before we get into that, I have a question about the rooms because that was like the most interesting part of the episode to me as well. So it's very clear that the rooms manifested like something meaningful to each person. Um, Atticus got a flashback from the war. Uncle George. Well, actually, let's save Uncle George for last because I feel like his is the most interesting because Uncle George may not be Uncle George. Um, and also Letty. Yeah, Letty finally saw the snake, but Uncle George is in the room with Atticus' mother. So, all right. So what do you feel like was the significance of like each room they were trapped in? D, start first.
Okay, see, I'm glad you started with me because I have no idea, and I did that because I'm like, what are we doing here? Because it would have if Atticus had seen something else, then I would have been like, oh, clearly it's what they want. It's the thing that they want the most. And even with George, I'm not faulting him for wanting whoever else because I mean, you can't control what your heart does, right? Whatever, and it doesn't mean he doesn't love his wife. It just means that whatever he had with Hannah is there and it's always going to be there. And if he were in a perfect world, that is what it would be. But Atticus threw a wrench in all of that because there's no way he fantasizes about the war. It might just be like, maybe it's like and I want to say the most significant thing to happen to you, but that couldn't have been because Letty's or her vision or whatever wasn't a memory. It was something that she wanted. So maybe
it was like a fantasy almost. So that
so maybe it's different for everybody. So it's almost like a fantasy for Uncle George and Letty, and then Atticus is different. And maybe that's intentional because he was also the only person that could remember, and he's also the person that has I'm assuming at this point he's Adam. Like and I'm saying Adam because that's what Fitz says, and I'm calling him Fitz because I don't know what his name is on this show. Whatever. He's Fitz or the dude from Ghost. But anyway.
Yeah, we'll just call him Mr. Braithwaite. I know he's a Braithwaite. I didn't catch his first name. So.
Daddy Braithwaite. Okay, so
Daddy Braithwaite, yes.
Yeah. But I'm only saying Atticus is Adam because that story he told. And when Atticus asked him, he was like, oh, so you're God? He was like, no, I'm Adam. But with the snake thing, I'm like, no, maybe Atticus is Adam, which is the reason why his fantasy didn't play out in that situation. Like, and maybe his brain just didn't agree with whatever the spell was. That's my guess.
I think one thing that's interesting too, though, is like, I mean, his hallucination was traumatic, and so, and Letitia's hers also ended up being traumatic, but Uncle George's wasn't. I thought that was intriguing, and then as well, I want to see more explain about the significance where they had all the old white men. And it was almost kind of like a zoo, I guess, as it was supposed to be. Because I got zoo vibes because they were just like watching and enjoying them being traumatized.
Do you think he wasn't traumatized because he figured it out?
I'm thinking possibly. I think I don't know. I think he has like a very strong intuition. I think that may be part of it, but I think we may have that explained later on because even Letitia's was like, God, it was very traumatic. At the end, you think about it going on, and the snake pops out.
Snake. Because I mean, nobody wants to see a snake on a regular basis, but just imagine.
That is not the trouser snake we want to see.
That is not the trouser snake that you signed up for. So no.
And then, like,
it's a metaphor.
The whole zoo aspect, I'm very intrigued. Hopefully, we'll get something explained. I'm probably gonna read some theories about it later. Not sleep. But that's one thing I noticed is like Uncle George's was totally just fine, and he was able, and it just kind of faded. But everyone else's was just like awful. So
I have a feeling his was gonna end in tragedy, though.
I had a feeling too because like she wanted to kiss him, and then he didn't.
Because he was just like, nah. Because I mean, it probably would have been like if she had kissed him, she would have like ended up biting his head off or something.
Like something's gonna happen. But
because she did say, because she was like, tell me a story, and then she was like, well, don't you want to come back with me? So it's almost like she would have taken him to the land of the dead. So yeah, because we do have a mention of like a song of the living and a song of the dead. So I feel like that was her purpose. But because he went through that secret vault and found the bylaws, like he kind of knew what was up, and he was like on his toes, like nah, you're not gonna catch me slipping. So I feel like if he would have given in to that, then yeah, well, Uncle George already isn't with us, but he really wouldn't have been with us if he would have given in to that. Poor Uncle George.
Poor Uncle George. Hey, who was the late in the first episode? The lady that Atticus picked up at the bus stop. Who was that?
Yeah, they haven't revisited that.
Okay.
We just know it was like a lady, but I have a feeling that might have some significance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Because I was thinking it was his mom. Yeah, but I'm
can't
like,
be an ex-Confederate soldier. You will always be
right.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to who that is. I'm sure we'll find out later. But there's so much.
Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything because I don't think I did, but I was like, I don't know who she was.
They didn't revisit that ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this show gives us a lot of quotables. So what was your favorite quote of this episode? I mean, to me, there is like clearly one that stands out. And
I really, really like the one when they came out of the rooms after the mind trick thing. And Uncle Joe was like, y'all all right? I was like, no.
No,
they are not all right.
No.
But when he comforted them by telling Atticus, he was like, you are a good boy and a better man. I was like, oh my goodness. And then with Letty, because he was like, Letitia fucking Lewis.
that is mine.
Yeah, he was like, don't get scared, dude. I was like, yeah, see, this is, and it's almost like it's very clear that she was traumatized. I mean, I guess scared is one thing, but trauma's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like there's fear, like jump scares, and this is a thing that I'm afraid of, even though you know necessarily that it can't hurt you, but trauma does hurt literally. So I think that's a little bit worse for her. And the way that he was able to get her to like shake it off is just kind of beautiful in a way. And like you said before, it may be because he has already kind of gotten an understanding of what's about to happen or what is happening, kind of, because he's gone through the bylaws. He may have a better understanding of it or had a better understanding of it. So that may be why he was able to comfort them like that. But I think of all the quotes, that was the one when he told Atticus that he was a good boy and a better man. Then he was just like, that's what they try to do. They try to confuse you and pretty much make you think you're something when you're not. That whole little spiel, that was my favorite part, I think, as far as quotes go.
What about you, Courtney?
I think it was the part where once again, like they did in the first episode, Atticus was reminding Letitia about the, quoting that verse in the Bible. It's like, I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death. I think that's going to be a theme. I kind of like it because my mom always used to quote that during scary storms. And I'm just like, oh, every time I hear it. But no, I have a feeling if they're going to repeat that, there's a lot of biblical allegories. I find that really interesting too. So I have a feeling that verse specifically is going to continue to hold significance throughout this series. I personally feel like. So that was my favorite kind of quote / moment.
So the next one is who won the episode, and I put in parentheses other than Letty, but at the same time, I feel like Letty always saves the day. So I'm gonna cheat here and break my own rule. It's Letty for me, but what about you, D and Court?
I think it's always gonna be Letty.
It's always gonna be Letty.
So I was just like, I actually was gonna be mad if she died. I was like, are you fucking
yeah, like we riot. We riot.
I was about to say I'm about to riot now. No, I just know who did it.
But I think as far as I guess if you have to say when, if we're doing that, are we saying by like who was the MVP of the situation?
Yeah, basically like the MVP of the episode. Yeah,
it's Atticus. It's Atticus because he from the beginning he remembered, he reminded them, he talked to What's the daughter's name? Does she have a name, or is she just baby girl?
Christina pops in my head. Don't quote me on that.
Something like the Christina or whatever.
She looks like a Christina.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up while y'all are.
Okay, yeah. Well, Courtney's looking it up, but she, excuse me, she can there be a runner up? Because even though she is quite evil, she's the one that kind of tipped Atticus off that there was a loophole.
It's Christina.
Okay, Christina. Because remember when she was putting that ring on him and she was telling them, we are not who they say we are. There's always, we are pretty much who we want to be. So to me, that was her giving him like a cheat code, like, hey, I know you think this thing is going to go this way, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't matter what they told you. It doesn't have to go that way. And that's when I was like, Atticus, figure it out. There's something you can figure out that's going to make this go differently. And that's what blew up the whole thing, which I love. Yeah. Because and again, that's another reason why I kept on saying there must have been some confusion about who Adam is. Because at this point, it's got to be Atticus. Because you're doing this spell or whatever it is that you're doing. And now all of y'all are stoned. So he's either Adam or Medusa. I don't know, somebody. But y'all dead now, so it works.
So now it's time for my favorite part of the episode, I think. It's theory time, because there's like a lot to unpack here. So there's like a lot of symbolism. So let's just talk a little bit about what some of the things we saw in this episode, what they could possibly mean. For instance, I think we need to start with, first of all, what do you guys think? Who are the sons of Adam? Who are they?
Who is Adam? Is Adam? Like the garden, like the first man, Adam? Okay.
Yeah, it's symbolic.
I don't know. Are they like who the Nazis think they are? Like pure Indian?
That's what I'm genuinely thinking. It's like, and they even like made snide comments of the evil dark Ku Klux Klan guy. I don't remember his name either, and I was just looking at the cast of characters. But and he was just like, well, even though the line has been tainted, and it's just like, yeah, now who's Stone?
Right.
Now you're dead.
One part too that I think is like very interesting and I think it may. This is my personal theory. It may be like a Jesus Mary type situation. Maybe when they were talking about, I forget what's Atticus's dad's name. When Uncle George was talking to them,
Montrose.
Okay.
I mean George Montrose. Wait, which one?
Montrose. Montrose.
No, when he's like, he's not your son, right? You're not the dad. And I'm like, maybe is there some kind of like, if we're talking about biblical allegories, like, then who is the dad? Is like the dad actually like a person? Is God the dad?
And he was like, we're never going to talk about it.
The father of Adam and Eve as well.
So all right, so I do have something about the sons of Adam. The Order of Illuminati.
Okay.
The creator of the Order of the Illuminati, which often gets that word gets thrown around a lot, but it's not what people say it is. The founder of the Order of the Illuminati, his name was Adam Weishaupt.
Of course, his name was Adam.
Possibly. I mean, Adam is a very common name, but at the same time, maybe that's that. At the same time, both of you bring up a very interesting point. When Montrose and Uncle Father George were both like, we're not going to speak on that. Wouldn't it be crazy misdirection if neither one of them is Atticus' father? Yes. Because now we know, by the way the episode ends, now we know that Atticus has some type of like power that's possibly isn't of human origin. So wouldn't it be crazy if neither one of them is his father?
But the good thing is there are breadcrumbs there, so it wouldn't be it wouldn't be like out of nowhere if that's the case, which is good. Go ahead, Courtney. I'm sorry.
Sorry. That's what I say. I think it's some kind of entity.
Right.
I don't know. That's what I'm gonna be like. I said, like a holy. I think it's gonna be an allegory to like a Holy Spirit type of thing. And like, if you think about it, God's the father of Adam and Eve. if we're gonna, I think they're gonna continue down that biblical allegory route. That's what I think.
Is in this situation, do we care or does it matter who Eve is?
Well,
I mean, it will be interesting to see, but I mean, I don't think it really matters.
Is that what? Yeah, that's. I mean, maybe, possibly. Would it be Hannah? Because why was she in the Garden of Eden?
That's what I'm saying. It has to be Hannah, right?
That was my thing. Like, that was my next question. Like, what's the significance of Hannah? Because to me, now we know, by the way the episode ends, that she burned.
Whoever is Atticus's father had to have maybe been with Hannah. If it's Adam and Eve, and it's the sons of Adam.
And that means that Atticus isn't Adam. He's either Cain or Abel.
That's what I'm saying. Because to me, Hannah's Eve. Why else would she have been there?
And then the nice master, who's very nice. Kind. Who's known to be kind to his slaves, is Adam.
But I say, side note, without giving too much away about like what I do like in real life, you don't know how many times I've had people come to me and be like, yeah, my great grandfather owned slaves, but he was one of the nice ones. I'm like, okay. But anyway, so we see Hannah burn down the huge mansion, and then we know that she's pregnant running through the field. So I do think, yes, Hannah represents Eve, like leaving Eden. So and just to be clear, the baby that she was carrying, that is the direct descendant of Atticus, right?
Has to be.
Yeah.
The ancestor, excuse me, I got that mixed up. Yeah.
Has to be
because
it was like the ancestor reaching out to him to get him, almost to pull him out of the house.
Right.
So, and I also want to add, you know how badass it's got to be to burn down that big ass house?
Oh yeah, that was
twice, 2 times.
Just like because I didn't do it right the first time. Obviously,
y'all want to build a replica.
You want to build a replica.
Oh, you want to build a replica? Okay. Yeah, I think too, and I'm sure it wasn't meant. I won't say it was an accident, but I thought it was beautiful too. How, in a sad way, because like I said, I just met Uncle George last week, and him dying today was like tough. It really hurt. And I saw when they were in the car and Montrose was holding him, they were both sitting there together. And though he was grieving, and I know he was talking to Montrose, the fact that he looked in the car and he was crying and he says, "Pop," I was like, oh man. Because I mean, it really could symbolize both of them. Yeah. And then because Atticus doesn't know if that's his father. We don't even know at this point. Because like Courtney was saying, it could be an entity. But even if he's not, just like it seems that he's been very much a father figure to him either way. And I want to add too, that acting.
Oh yeah, yes.
I had that same thing too. I was just like, this is masterful.
Yeah.
Like did he really die?
Like master class.
Wake up, Courtney. I'm nervous. Are you okay for real? Because Jonathan's really doing this. Like Jonathan, I'm wondering if Jonathan and Courtney are going through something right now, because it looks like you really died. Like he's
from Angela Bassett.
Right.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors is amazing, but like seriously, I keep saying
Jonathan Majors is next up.
He's really, really good. Above all of that, though, I'm still glad Journey didn't die, because I thought
Journey's acting was really good too.
It was.
Like I was
really,
just like,
really good.
okay, everyone is just so impressive. It's just.
Did y'all think? So was it like I'm assuming it was like a force field around the certain amount of property or whatever, and that's why they crashed. That? And that's what I'm assuming she used. Christina Courtney, that's her name, Christina. I'm assuming that's what she used for the rednecks that were chasing them from the restaurant. Cool. Okay, see, it all loops back around.
Got that kind of, and that's why I'm like, okay, so she's got that sort of kind of power. I was wondering, where is she pulling that from?
So she got out, right?
Because I'm like I said, I watched Game of Thrones too, and unless I see somebody die, they're not dead.
Yeah. So I'm assuming she's still alive, and the boy that's also a friend, the two very pale people, they're still alive,
Mm-hmm.
but the rest were turned to stone. All the ones that were part of the ceremony were turned to
Her
stone.
dad turned to
Okay.
stone.
Okay.
Yeah, because here's what I'm thinking. The ceremony was for men only, and this shows you what happens when there are men only events. Nothing good happens.
Mm-mm.
So this event was for men only. So I'm led to believe that she was outside of the mansion at the time, and also the guy with the very punchable face. He her friend who is a boy. He was outside too because he's not a part of the organization. So I think they're still very much alive.
So he's just like a gopher.
What is
I think he's
did he? I know he said it. No,
He-
because I thought it was like her brother or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
They just look alike.
Because I was like, yeah, y'all look way too much alike to, you know.
I thought he was a brother too. But if he were her brother, wouldn't he be the one getting like the passed down unless they realize he's not it?
Yeah,
Because Christine told, is it Christine or Christina?
I think it's Christina.
Yeah, Christina.
See, told Atticus, wasn't she saying like I've wanted this, or I've tried so hard to get it out of my life, and you get it just by being a man. Oh yeah, okay, I take that back. That may have been one of my favorite quotes.
Actually, yeah,
my second best quote. He was like, and not even a white man.
Not even white man is there. That's
like,
wild.
And insult to injury, just pour salt in the wound. But he's right. Like it just again shows how much women have to overcome because, like, look, you white and that's cool and all, but you still a woman, so you're not gonna be able to do this. You can do everything else, go get the monsters and stuff. Oh, that cow scene.
I was just about to mention that.
That's not a vampire thing. That was something different.
It was. She like loved it. She was.
She's gotta be like a witch of some kind because I think because the power is not with the mansion because she was able to do that. She has that power. So I'm very curious as to where that's manifesting from.
What are they gonna do? We'll see. Well, he's good now because I was gonna say even though they're still in a sundown town, I'm pretty sure at this point Atticus has some kind of power, so they should be protected. I'm assuming. Oh, and that other the white bitch. What was her name? I don't know her name, but the one with the dog.
You can't say things like that when I'm taking a drink.
She was talking about it because she that they're not the ones that need a leash.
Right, I was. That's her thing. She was like once again winning because she just like knocked her the fuck.
Right. Yeah, I was
just like,
girl. But yeah, I think we're going to see. What do y'all think there'll be more? Well, it's got to be more biblical references some way intertwined.
There's a lot they can go off of.
Yeah. So I guess as far as big theories, if you had to guess, like right now, what are you calling, or what do you think you've deduced so far?
And because I know Hannah's a person in the Bible, and my mom's not watching this because I do not remember who Hannah is.
Y'all. I promise. I love Jesus.
Gosh. Oh my
gosh! Bible's a big book.
I just made a connection. Hannah. So the old racist, like dark mode Ku Klux Klan guy. His name is Samuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Hannah, and that's a couple in the Bible.
Okay.
Hold on, y'all.
All
right. Yeah, she was the mother of Samuel, and one of the wives of I can't pronounce that Hebrew name. She was a infertile woman, remember, and she had to be like really old when God finally blessed her to be able to have kids. That's why I remember that name. Because I'm like, okay, because that's the first thing that clicked with me. I was like, oh, she's got a biblical name.
Are you thinking about Sarah?
No, that's what it says right here. Listen, it's been a while.
I'm sure Sarah wasn't the only old lady that had a baby.
It's been a while
back then.
School. Let me see. Hold on. Who is she? Well, it says that her patronage is infertile women. So
okay, and that would make sense. That would make like her
baby
much more significant. That
like an immaculate conception almost.
Yeah. Right. All right, so to put a bow on this, if we were to make one big grand theory about first Atticus's power, I hate adding the partially S to names that end with S, but Atticus's power, and also the significance that it adds to like the show as a whole. Like, what do you think that could be? Because I'll start first. To me, I think Atticus had something inside of him that would have helped them the first time they encountered the monsters. Because we know that the monsters are called off when there's like whistling, and also we know when Christina does her spell, she can make the monsters go away. So I think Atticus has something in him that could help him navigate through those areas on the map that are called Lovecraft Country. And I don't know what that means as far as like significance of the show, but at the same time, I guess like real life implications, it would almost be like a Negro that's like so special that he could go into other places that Negroes can't. I don't know what that means as far as like the larger implications of the show, but I do think that Atticus has that power to like call the monsters off. Like I said, I don't know what that means in the like larger scheme of things though.
To me, it looked like it was like almost like his life force because it was coming straight from his heart. So I was like convinced he was gonna die. I'm like, they're literally pulling his life force from him. To me, that's what it looked like. So it's something that's gonna be like his soul. To me, like something that he didn't know he had. And I don't think he's gonna know if it can protect him. I don't think he's gonna know how to do that. Because I would have felt that would have come through in the first episode and the multiple times that they'd been in danger. So, or maybe, I don't know, maybe now that he's, in tune with his ancestors, he can manifest that more. I'm very curious to see what exactly is that power and why is that so different. Like, to me, it would make sense if his father was some kind of divine entity, but if it wasn't, then where is that coming from?
But see, think about it though. If you're saying that could make sense though, with his father being an entity. Now I'm still not taking away from it. Still, I mean, it still could be Uncle Daddy George. Who knows? But the fact that his mom told, because remember he was like, your mom told, I mean, she told you that. She never talked to us, but she didn't tell me or Pop, but she told you. And I'm like, okay, well, they're close. But it's very possible that something happened to her. Like they saw something happen to her. They saw somebody take her. They saw somebody touch her, or something happened to her, and that's the thing they don't talk about. Because I'm pretty sure it's hard to think about something or recount something, and if it's a situation where somebody you love was taken and you can protect them. So that's maybe why they were like, we're not gonna talk about it.
And that would, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just need to point this, like insert this, but that would explain why Montrose is so cold towards Atticus as well. I just wanted to add that in there.
I was like, why is he so cold towards his son?
Yeah, I mean, because if she was, and I hate to say it, but if she was sexually assaulted, that makes sense. If she was taken or whatever else, or she was away from them, and then when she got back, next thing you know, she's pregnant. They don't talk about it at all. None of them talk about it. It's just like, she was gone, she's back, she's pregnant. We don't need to talk about it. We know there's one way that she got pregnant, so let's not talk about it. And then they just stepped up. The both of them stepped up to be whatever they needed to be for Atticus. And Uncle George just could do it more than Montrose, because maybe they just took it, they handle it differently. I don't know. I hope she wasn't assaulted, but I wouldn't be surprised. She's a Black woman in 1950s.
Yeah.
Didn't they say that it, like, whatever his divine ancestry, it's through the mother, not for the father.
Through
so
the mother.
Like, she had that genetic link, and some of the weird dark mode KKK people, they could have sexually assaulted her.
Yeah, one of the descendants of the kind owner.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, is if they're that obsessed, that would make sense to me.
And then of course, the good old boys are gonna protect their son. And if you know that he has fathered a child out there somewhere, then you either just gonna let it go, or they're going to, in a back way kind of way, take care of their heir because they feel some kind of moral responsibility. Just so weird how their morals work. But
I think the guy's name was Samuel. It was talking about how the line was tainted or something. It's like, well, even though you're tainted, you're still a part of the line.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what
exactly. So yeah, that's that. I mean, I would not be surprised if that's how it goes. It's going to be good. They've got to. I mean, I know we've said this in the second episode, and I mean, I'm not hyping it up, but y'all know that really could have worked as a finale.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it could have. This was like strong end season Game of Thrones vibes.
Yeah, especially with the death.
Character died.
Right, you got a death.
They didn't do that. They didn't even kill a character. They waited for the season finale to kill a significant character.
It's like, look, this is what you're in
for.
Main
character, but it's like one of the three.
The main character died and the entire mansion collapsed.
So yeah, you had a death, you have a cliffhanger,
and almost death.
So many questions, almost death. Or maybe she did die and then they just brought her back.
I think, she didn't even have a bullet hole. That's why she was so upset, is that she experienced death. That's how I saw it. She experienced death and is so traumatized by the fact that, oh shit, I died. Yeah. Because she was like panicking and almost wanting to vomit. I was like, oh no, she died.
Right, because she was still bloody, so it happened. Right, it wasn't just in her mind. It happened, but you know.
It happened. She was brought back. Yeah.
Do you think? Last question I have. Do y'all think that Atticus? I don't know, y'all. I'm sorry, Daddy. What's his name? What's the last name?
Braithwaite, and I think
Braithwaite. Yeah.
Braithwaite.
Daniel's the first name.
Okay. Do you think he picked up on Atticus's hesitation, or he just picked Uncle George because he knew that he was closer to him? When he was like, I'll let you decide who's next, or pretty much, or whatever it was.
And that Uncle George knew too much already.
Oh, okay. I get it.
He broke into like the library, and he's like, that's when
he did get
don't let them know you know the bylaws are. I was like,
I was like, why are you saying this?
You're showing your cards so early. What are you doing?
I think he was afraid, and he was just like, I gotta play it now because.
I think you tweeted, it's like, the curiosity kills the cat, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is that? Like,
see, you jinxed it.
I did. I'm just like,
I did, but I mean, I had to, because I was impressed with the speech, because I was like, okay, then talk your shit, Uncle George. You know what you're doing. But then Atticus was like, I mean, not Atticus, George. I mean, Samuel. He was like, oh, you're important, but you ain't. You can still be replaced. You ain't. You're talking a lot right now, but don't get it twisted. I can still get rid of you, and I will. And he did, bastard. That's why he's stoned now. See, look at you. Look at you. Stone. So yeah, I'm excited about episode 3. I think I saw a preview. I don't remember really looking because I was still like.
I turned it off at the preview.
Yeah.
I don't watch this anymore. I'll probably watch the preview. Like my brain was already just like
mush,
and like the wires everywhere. But no, I'm probably gonna watch it after this just to see. But I can only process so much at once. That was so, like I said, it's in a good way, but that was so much. It was like overwhelming. I'm just like, why are they doing this?
I like it. I hope they keep it up because I'm looking for it now. They've set a tone and they got to keep it.
Oh yeah, they got to keep it up.
I mean, I hope like at least the filler, because there will have to be a filler episode.
Right.
They have to let us breathe a little bit. I hope there's like a lot of lore and maybe like flashback style storytelling. I can see that happening.
Are they going home now?
They didn't say where they were going.
See, I caught like because I was like sitting on the couch in shock for like 30 seconds, and I found and I caught like,
where are you guys? I jumped right to the computer. I was like, where is it?
I caught like 30 seconds of the preview. So Hippolyta is in like the house with Montrose, and she's like, so you got to tell me what happened to my husband. And like, so that was the only part of that. So yeah, they do. So yeah, they do go back to Chicago without Uncle Father George.
I don't think they're gonna bury him because you can't just drive with that body, right?
I mean, well,
you might have to. It's back in the day. But I did hear where like most of the season was filmed in Chicago, so that would make sense. Because I know it was like part of it was in Macon, part of it was in a place I can't remember, but most of it, from what I remember, was filmed in Chicago. So
okay. So you think they're gonna bring? I saw something that said they're gonna bring Lady's sister back too. So it looks like all of those people, the Chicago people.
Yeah, she will be back. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I think we're gonna find some backstory maybe with that, because that's what I'm wondering. Because you know, when we were talking about like the rooms, maybe she did have a past of sexual assault.
It felt like it.
That's what it took, because like that trauma felt too close, and even
Mhm.
before that, she was like, stop, 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 stop.
Yeah.
So that's what, and we might find that out.
Yeah. I hope not, but it felt like it. Just when she kept saying she came home, she kept coming home with different men. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Strong
yeah.
vibes, yeah.
y'all know how I feel about
When
men.
you looked at that painting with the snake
Mhm.
penis.
Sorry, running. I mean,
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Well, I'm still here, you know.
The way she was looking at it before that even happened.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, like just you kind of
And the fear of how, even though she loves very clearly, she loves and has she's attracted to, and she desires Atticus. Even with that, you could see her almost go into a full out panic when he reached for his belt, because she was like, "Whoa, whoa,
So
whoa,
hearing you two speak,
whoa.
hearing you two speak makes me change something that I said earlier. I said what happened in each of the rooms represented something different to them, and hers could have been a fantasy, but no, now I'm led to believe that it's something traumatic that happened
that's
as
what I
a
was thinking
result
the
of
whole
someone
time.
close to her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I'm leaning now.
Somebody she trusted.
Yeah, I was saying, like, Uncle George is the only one that wasn't traumatized.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm okay enough to sleep now, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be looking at
I had to talk it out,
I have
process.
to look at theories all night.
So yeah, that's all that we have for tonight. Thanks for watching. Gonna spit out a few things at you. Make sure you subscribe to the Kids Wear Crowns on YouTube. Follow us on the KWC blog. And I'll put that Twitch link because it is a mouthful. Follow us on Twitch as well. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Everywhere you need to be.
We
So
don't have an excuse.
Right. And keep in mind, we are a useful blog with useless opinions. We certainly and we really truly care about the content we create and share with you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to write a guest post for your place, let us know.
Just hit us up and
Get some merch.
Yeah, and now so I'm about to rock myself to sleep tonight, but until next time, Courtney, D, and Ron signing out. Goodbye.
Peace.